Most people think success comes from talent, luck, or being in the right place at the right time. But if you really zoom in, if you strip away the noise and look closely at the world, most successful people, something becomes very clear. It's not their background. It's not their bank account. It's not their IQ. It's how they think. The real difference lies in the patterns of thought that shape every decision, every action, and every habit. This is the mental blueprint of success. If you want to change your life, this is where you begin. Because the truth is, your thoughts are not harmless. They're not random. They're steering wheels quietly directing the course of your life. So if you want to go somewhere great, you need to take back the wheel. Successful people don't think like the majority. Their minds operate on a different frequency. While most are reactive, they are intentional. While others focus on problems, they focus on solutions. And while many look for excuses, they look for outcomes. Let's break down exactly how they think, so you can start upgrading your mental operating systems starting today. The first big difference is that successful people own everything. They take full responsibility for where they are, where they've been, and where they're going. You'll never hear them say, "It's not my fault," or "They held me back." Why? Because they know the moment they blame something outside of themselves, they give away their power. Blame is easy. Responsibility is hard, but it's the birthplace of change. If you want to build something better, you have to believe you're the one holding the hammer. Now contrast this with the average mindset. Most people walk around convinced they're victims of circumstance. They believe life happens to them. The economy's bad, the boss is unfair, the world just doesn't get them. But this mentality is a trap. Because the moment you believe you're powerless, you stop trying. You shrink. You wait for someone else to fix it. Successful people don't wait, they act. Second, successful people see failure differently. Where most people see failure as a stop sign, they see it as feedback, not a judgment, but information. If something doesn't work, they don't say "I failed." They say "I learned." It's not personal. It's not final. It's just part of the process. That SYULL often hear stories of entrepreneurs who failed 5 times before they succeeded once, and that one time changed their life. Because every failed attempt sharpened their strategy. They didn't fear failure. They expected it. They embraced it. That's what made them resilient. On the other hand, most people fear failure so much they never start. They want the guarantee. They want to know it will work before they begin. But successful people start before they're ready. They know clarity comes from action, not from sitting around thinking about it. They're not reckless, but they're not paralyzed either. They move, they adjust, and they grow along the way. Another mindset shift is how successful people think about time. Most people trade their time for money. They think in hours, days, paychecks. But successful people think in seasons and systems. They don't just ask, "What am I getting today?" They ask, "What am I building for tomorrow?" Their goals stretch beyond the weekend. They build assets, they plant seeds, and they understand the power of delayed gratification. It's like this. While the average person is busy checking notifications and chasing short-term hits of dopamine, the successful are playing a long game. They know that saying no to temporary pleasure today unlocks freedom later. They make sacrifices. They invest in skills. They compound their habits. That's why their lives don't just get better by chance, they get better by design. Here's another key. Successful people are solution-focused. The average person gets stuck in what's wrong. They complain. They gossip. They relive the same problems over and over, hoping that somehow talking about it will fix it. But successful people don't dwell. They assess, they strategize, and they ask, "What's the next move?" They're not obsessed with being right, they're obsessed with progress. They don't need to win every argument or prove every point. Their ego is not in charge. Growth is. That's why they're constantly learning. They read, they listen, they surround themselves with mentors and people who challenge them. They not afraid to admit they don't know everything because they not trying to protect an image. They're trying to build a legacy. And then there's belief. The internal compass that guides everything else. Successful people believe it's possible. They believe they can, even when there's no evidence yet, even when they're the only ones who believe. That internal conviction is not arrogance. It's certainty born from commitment. They don't wait to feel confident. They build confidence by showing up again and again, no matter how hard it gets. Because here's the truth. Successful people feel fear too. They doubt themselves. They question the path. But they don't let that stop them. They act in spite of fear. They've learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going anyway. Every breakthrough is on the other side of discomfort. Let's also talk about how successful people view problems. Most people avoid them. They hope for easy, for safe, for smooth. But successful people know that problems are not obstacles. They are invitations. Opportunities to grow, to stretch, to rise. When something breaks, they ask, what skill do I need to develop to fix this? When the market crashes, they look for the hidden window. When a door closes, they find another one. That mindset makes them unstoppable. They also understand the power of focus. In a world filled with noise, distraction is the enemy. Most people spread themselves thin, a little bit here, a little bit there, constantly switching, constantly starting over. But successful people protect their focus like gold. They set priorities. They eliminate what doesn't matter. They understand that saying yes to everything is a fast path to mediocrity. The real growth happens when you start saying no to distractions, to unaligned people, to meaningless tasks. That's how they channel their energy into things that actually move the needle. And perhaps one of the most underrated thought patterns of successful people is that they dan to compare. They compete with themselves. While others scroll through highlight reels on social media, feeling smaller with every swipe, they stay in their own lane. They ask, how can I be better than yesterday? That's it. That's the race. That's the win. Because comparison kills progress. It steals joy. It blinds you to your own path. But when your focus is on being your best, when you commit to your own growth, your own journey, you start to rise. Not through force, but through alignment. Lastly, successful people think in terms of service. They don't just chase success for personal gain. They build things that matter. They solve real problems. They ask, how can I create value? Because they know that money follows value. Influence follows impact. Fulfillment follows contribution. They're not just playing to win, they're playing to matter. So if you want to start thinking like someone who's going somewhere, start here. Take responsibility. Stop blaming. Redefine failure. Make it your teacher. Think long-term. Build. Don't just hustle. Be solution-oriented. Focus on what's next. Feed your mind, learn, unlearn, and grow. Believe it's possible even when no one else does. Run your own race. Stop watching others. Above all, serve. Create something that helps others rise. Success doesn't begin with a bank account. It doesn't start with a perfect plan. It starts with a thought. A single shift in how you see yourself, how you see the world, and how you decide to show up in it. Change your thoughts, and your life will follow. That is not it is a law. One the successful understand deeply. So ask yourself, what would a successful version of you think today? Start thinking that way now and don't stop, because that's where the transformation begins.